The Darce choke is a submission executed from the front headlock position. It involves encircling the opponent's neck with the crook of one's arm, while the other arm wraps around the opponent's arm and applies pressure against the neck, leading to a tap or unconsciousness. The Darce, on the other hand.
I'm like, should I start it up?
All right, ready? Go for it.
He's got it backed up in the corner. And oh no. Oh, Brasco comes through with the 1-2. He keeps pressing. Oh, but he's plus money's pushing him back. Man, oh, here comes Slick. And plus money's down. Slick's laughing and Brasco's got the belt. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Darce Podcast. MMA picks and analysis coming to you every single week. This week, Leroy Murphy taking on Edson Barboza in the main event of the UFC Fight Night at the Apex. I'm here with my guys, Mr.Plus Money, Slick Montana, back at you every week. Last week, man, well, let's be honest, right? A lot of people in the comments chatting away. It's been a tough year in MMA to predict some wild outcomes this year, some wacky decisions. And, yeah, I'll be honest, we'll own our losses, right? Last week, kind of tough picks. What do we have? I think me and Slick went 6-6, Mr.Plus 5-7 on just the overall picks, and all of us lost some units. So look, we'll get better, guys. We'll recover. In the main event, Derek the Black Beast Lewis comes through. Mr.Plus, Savage Lewis. At least we hit that one.
Yeah, man, that was good to at least end the night on a winning note and watch Derek Lewis and just laugh your ass off, and remember why we love UFC so much and Derek Lewis so much. He's got the best post-fight interviews on his wins, hands down. I don't think it's even close. Maybe Renato wants, Moicano wants money, is getting there, but I really do think that the Black Beast is just such an entertaining character. He's going to be in the UFC for a minute. He said he wanted to do some WWE. I'll watch it that night if he's in it. I'm watching.
Bro, my balls is hot. Derek Lewis throwing the cup into the crowd, mooning the crowd, Slick. Too funny. But, of course, we did have a number of disappointments. I mean, Slava Borshev let us all down. Robelis Despain, the hype train, crashed by Waldo Cortez Acosta, of all people. And then Mateus Rebecki, biggest favorite of the night, loses to 39-year-old Ferreira. Slick, what is the biggest disappointment in your eyes?
Yeah, man, I would just say Robelis Despain, he actually had questions of surrounding his takedown defense and what happens if he got to the ground. So I gave him a little fall for that because Waldo, before that fight, shot 0 takedowns in the UFC. And then he ended up, he just said, fuck it, whatever works, and he just kept doing it. But my biggest letdown was Rebecki, for a guy that, a lot of hype was on him. He's usually a more calculated type of fighter. He was coming in the first round, winging punches from God knows where, just trying to take out Ferreira. And Ferreira, being the veteran that he is, lasted it to at least the second round. And it was over for Rebecki after that. So the biggest letdown for me was Rebecki.
Yeah, man. Well, on to this week we go. Like we said, we'll clean it up, guys. We'll try to keep doing better and break down these fights, give you guys good information. Whatever you're doing, we hope you're enjoying the channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment for us, and we'll get right into the picks here. We'll kick it off with the Mr.Plus Parlay Bus. Going for 3 fighters here, looking to get back in the win column. You hit the first one we did. Maybe you can cash another one. 3 fighters, a few of which may need some info on, some new guys to the scene, some prospects. What do you got for us, Mr.Plus?
I'm excited to get into it. I do want to start off by saying I had a horrible week in the UFC at 5-7. My betting card was even worse. I think I won 1 bet, down lots of units, boys. Double-digit unit loss for me. I'll take it on the chin, though. And like Brasco did say, it hasn't been the easiest year. But let's try to get one here. I looked into this card. I like these 3 fighters to all get the job done. And I'm going to start with the earliest fight. This dude's from France. He's an up-and-coming prospect, Omar Sy. This dude is huge, man. Super athletic. And let me just let you guys know, 9-0. 3 unanimous decisions, 3 submissions, and 3 knockouts. This dude's a unit. He's a problem. I think they're putting him here for a reason. And the dude he's going up against, I'll read his name again, and I don't even know how to say it. Tricoli?
Yeah, Tricoli.
Tricoli, this guy hasn't fought in 2 years and 5 months, and the fight before that was 4 years and 10 months ago in the Contender Series. I just can't get behind someone that's not that active. On the other hand, our French guy, this dude that I'm putting my chips on, I think he gets the job done inside the distance. I think this is going to be destruction. And again, I think they're bringing him up. It's like a Cyril Gahn type moment. And this dude, I think he was fighting at heavyweight, so now he's light heavyweight. He's down at 205, and he is massive 6'5". So I really like him to get the job done, especially again against a guy that's very inactive. So he's the first leg. So leg number 2, we're going to move right to it. We're going Adrian Yanez. I think that he needs to bounce back here. This is a great spot for him to get it done. And how are you going to lose to a guy who's moving up in weight? That means he's a smaller guy. I just can't get behind the Salvador. They both have 2 losses coming into this, but Salvador's lost to less. His losses are no good, no bueno. Victor Almarino beat his ass. I just think that this is a levels situation, and Adrian Yanez is on a different level. He was up and coming before he had 2 decent L's to really good guys. So I'm taking him for leg number 2. I think that's a clean one. And again, I think he's a guy that likes to get it done. He's a dog inside the distance. He's going to get in close. He's going to make this dirty. But again, his loss was to Jonathan Martinez to the leg kicks. We saw that. Real damaging. That dude can almost beat anyone. He did just lose to Aldo, but granted, it's Aldo. So yeah, that's leg number 2. Let's move on to the last leg. Probably the toughest one, in my opinion. We're going with Demba Garimbo. I could have made it something easy. There's a couple minus 400s, but I really think Demba Garimbo is on the up and coming. I do believe in his striking, and I think he can get it done. Don't get me wrong. I know that Brahimaj is nasty on the ground. He's got submission finishes, but I just think that Demba Garimbo is going to be too strong of a person. He's not going to be able to sub him, and he does like fights on the ground too. He's not scared of the grappling. I really think this is a good spot. I know the AJ Fletcher guillotine a long time ago, few fights ago. I don't believe that hype. I don't think that's happening this time. This is a setup for Demba Garimbo to get the job done, and he's on the incline. I really like his stock, and with The Rock buying him the house and all that. That's the Mr.Plus parlay bust. Let's cash in, guys.
There you go, Mr.Plus hitting us with 3 fights. Umar C, French prospect on the come-up, light heavyweight. Demba Garimbo, guy that's backed by Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who bought him a house and now is big sensation all of a sudden. And Adrian Yanez, a guy desperately in need of a win. Like you said, maybe he was rushed, right? And pushed all the way up the bantamweight division to be fighting Rob Font. Got pieced up by Rob Font's jab. And then got his legs absolutely crippled by Jonathan Martinez, both of them. I mean, it was savage work. So he's a big favorite here. Levels, like you said, he's dropping down a major level against Vinicius Salvador here, who's got some swaggy kind of striking style, right? But like you said, has gotten outworked by guys like Victor Altamirano, CJ Vergara. So I don't know, Slick, I want your reaction to Adrian Yanez. Would you be willing to trust him as a big favorite here? He's got to win or he's toasting the UFC. His career is down the shitter pretty much. You think he'll pick up the win?
Yeah, I actually got Yanez in a parlay with the other guy that Mr.Plus said with Umar Sy. So I'm trusting in both those guys.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you like it. You're trusting him. Umar Sy, I looked into him a little bit. He looks good, and I agree. His opponent, super inactive. I don't think his opponent's really going to offer a test for him here. So he looks like a guy, one of those French fighters that are getting set up to win. And then your other one, who we have? Oh, yeah, of course. Ramiz Brahimaj taking on Demba Garimbo, like we were talking about. Slick, what are your thoughts on Brahimaj? He was kind of a short underdog right here. He's got grappling skills like Mr.Plus alluded to. We know Garimbo likes to play on the ground and can't get that guillotine to AJ Fletcher, out of my mind's eye when I'm seeing him grapple. But, of course, he's gotten power. He's developing. We saw him knock out Pete Rodriguez. So what do you like in this spot? You think Themba minus 148 right now? You think that's a good line, or are we looking dog?
Yeah, I just think, Themba, but the line isn't that big and inflated because Themba just has to show us more. At the end of the day, this is going to be one of those probably grappler type of fast fights. And honestly, I'm trusting in Themba in this fight, man. I think he's going to have the striking edge. And like I said before, I think Brahimaj had gotten outstruck by a guy like Court McGee. And Court McGee is more of a wrestler type of guy. Court McGee was able to knock him down. And also even Max Griffin. Max Griffin was just showing him, dancing around him for all 3 rounds, and then ended up TKOing him with that elbow. So I think it's a good spot for Themba as long as he doesn't get himself caught in the choke. And like maybe, like I said, I just think that Rahimov excels in the rear naked chokes. I've seen the guillotine chokes and the one arm triangle choke that he had got. I'm just not too impressed. It was more of I would say the guys that didn't really have defensive grappling that Themba has. So give me Themba, man.
There you go, Mr.Plus. Slick liking the legs. Oh my God, that Max Griffin fight. Max Griffin sliced his elbow off with that, sliced his ear off with that elbow, I should say. So that was some nasty stuff. Rahimai versus Themba thoughts there. So Mr.Plus, you got plus 195 on that parlay. Themba, Omar C, and Adrian Yanez there. Not too bad. How you feeling about that?
Cross your fingers, boys. You never know. I felt really good about last week's too, and the minus 500 got smashed. So you gotta be careful now here, boys. It's and so did Robella's Despain. I mean, just couldn't get up. We're moving on. We're moving on. I like it this week.
We like this one. We're moving on. I mean, yeah, no, I won't forgive those guys though. I'm so mad at them still. All right, there you go. Parlay bus driving right through the front window of the bank this weekend. Let's get it, and that'll take us right to the Slick Report. He's covering a main event fight, I believe, that actually is interesting me here. Ladies fighting on this card, and you're covering Angela Hill versus Luana Pinheiro. Which side are you taking in the Slick Report this week, Slick?
Yeah, man, I'm going to go with the old trustworthy Angela Hill in this spot, man. I just think Pinheiro showed us in her 2 previous fights. She's good in that first round, and then after that, her gas tank just – and one thing that she's used to, she's used to going for that heavy wrestling style in the first round, trying to get you down and try to just implement her type of grappling or try to implement some type of ground and pound. I just don't think she's going to be able to against Angela Hill. Like, we only seen some of the best grapplers like Mackenzie Dern actually have success against Angela Hill. But I just don't think she's really going to have success on the feet either against Angela Hill. We've seen girls like Amanda Lemos, one of the best power punchers in the division, not able to really inflict that much damage on Angela Hill in them second and third rounds. So I just think this is going to be one of those types of fights that we're going to see Angela Hill weather a quick little storm from Pinheiro probably for the first 3-4 minutes, and then it's just going to be levels in that second and third round. So give me Angela Hill money line and Angela Hill round 3 of decision. I would say that would be probably around close to plus money as long as she's minus 135.
I like it, man. Minus 135 is a good line there. I see her minus 140, so I'm hoping that it only climbs and we get the best value, but totally agree with your pick. She always stays so busy. She uses her veteran experience against these other fighters. Pinheiro, like you said, she got some kicks, right? She got those judo throws, but Hill's seen it all. And I don't necessarily think that Pinheiro is going to be able to go with her with that pace and her intensity for 3 rounds. Hill ends up just doing more and winning close decisions so often. Mr.Plus, what side of that fight would you be on?
Yeah, I got to agree. I got to lean Angela Hill, the veteran. I just think that the experience is going to be there, and this is going to go the distance. And she's always in those really close fights and then edges it out in the later rounds, just like Slick said in his report. So I like that. I think she could lose the first round and figure it out like she always does, and then win rounds 2 and 3 to a decision, 29-28. And if it's a split decision in her favor, I won't be surprised. She gets those 2.
I like it, man. I like that for sure. So there you go. Angela Hill getting the win. Maybe, even split decision, round 3 decision. Angela Hill, any way you want to slice it that way, I can see it going her way on the scorecards, as she so often does. All right, guys. That'll make it time for the Brasco breakdown. And this week, I'm going with an underdog, man. I like it, fellas. We're going with Alateng Hai Lee, veteran guy here at bantamweight. And I think he's got the edge here, man. He's taken on an explosive kickboxer, Brazilian guy in Clayton Rodriguez, who has definitely showed some skill, some dangerous striking, right? I mean, he's popping his shots, snappy kickboxing. But he's been exposed on the ground a couple times, and we'll see if the defense has gotten there. I don't think it is, though, at least to make him a favorite quite yet, against the guy with a ton of experience at a pretty solid level like Alateng Hai Lee. His last fight, he lost to Chris Gutierrez. I think that's just a little too high for Alateng Hai Lee, right? He's not going to be in that ranked area, and he couldn't solve the puzzle with Chris Gutierrez, throwing just all those feints and leg kicks, just couldn't get inside. But he stayed pressuring. He's, super tough and has good cardio, kept the pressure in his face for all 3 rounds. I think if he does that to another kickboxer who doesn't have the IQ and footwork and sort of intelligence and experience like Gutierrez, like a younger 8-3 Clayton Rodriguez, I think he can make him wilt to that pressure, eventually get the takedowns, put him on the ground, just wear on him. And the longer it goes, the more I like Alateng Hai Lee, a guy that's, he's got 27 fights to Clayton's 11. So Of course, Clayton will be dangerous early, but you can just kind of zap the energy and the clinch from the explosive kickboxer, I think it'll go his way. So, I think Rodriguez's KO win over Shannon Ross, that's really what he's got to his UFC record so far. Unimpressive to me. 4 guys did that in a row, right? Ross has been on the wrong end of the highlight reel for quite some time now. So I'll give him credit there. His skills look good, but I like Alateng Haile to outwork him in this matchup. Coming out of fight-ready camp, right, guys? We always like back and training with Henry Cejudo, very smart, intelligent fighter. So that's your Brasco breakdown. Alateng Haile plus 132 right now. We'll see where that line goes. I put a half unit on it, and I'm going to see where it goes throughout the week. Mr.Plus, what do you think of that plus money play?
I'm pretty sure his name's pronounced Alateng Haile, but I'm not positive. Clayton Rodriguez, he's like overhyped a little bit, man. I can't get behind him at minus 185 or 165, wherever I saw that line. I'm with you, Brasco. I gotta ride the dog and the plus money and the experience and way more fights, double the fights. I gotta go with Alateng Haile.
I love it, man. Slick, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I agree, man. Like you said, I just don't think Clayton's going to finish. Alateng Haile hasn't been finished in almost 7 years. So at the end of the day, he's going to be durable in there. He's going to be in your face. So Clayton likes that space, and Alateng Haile likes to close distance. So Alateng Haile is a good plus money dog that I'm going to be taking as well.
Nice, man. Yeah, I just hope that he doesn't get cracked on the way in. Of course, that's possible. But, like you said, he doesn't get finished. He's gone the distance with in losses to Chris Gutierrez and Casey Kenny, good fighters. He's got wins over Danat Bakary, dangerous, explosive fighter himself, and Chad Anheliger, tough bastard himself, too. So I like the toughness, the cardio, the pressure of Alateng Haile. All right, guys, it's time for our dogs of the week. Let them out. Let them out. And, I just kicked mine off with Alateng Haile. Mr.Plus, that's the side you like too, right? That's going to be your dog of the week too. Not too many on this card that we're in love with backing, so we're going to pick them wisely. Any thoughts there on Alateng or the other dogs of the card?
I mean, we just talked about them, so I will talk about the ladies that I may sprinkle, that I'm not scared to sprinkle. I think the line is too wide for the Demopoulos fight. I know that she may get pieced up a little bit, but don't get me wrong. And I heard someone talk about her takedowns aren't that good. She's not bad though. When she's stronger than the other girl, she is decent at takedowns. 4-1 in her last 5. I just feel like we're sleeping on her at plus 220, and I don't think that Ducote should be a minus whatever favorite. For me, that's not going to fly. And then the next girl fight, I might take her as well. And I bet on her before and won, but it's been a couple years. I can't even believe 2 years flew by since she's lost. I can't even believe. I feel like I've seen her way more. Adrian, can you say her name for me, Brasco? The little buff girl.
Ariane Carnelossi.
Ariane Carnelossi, I think she can do something in this fight too. She's looking diesel as usual. No, I really do think that she's going to be, again, the stronger girl in there. And this is going to be a close fight. I think those dogs are both live. And, one thing that we did do well last week was the women fights. We had those hit nail on the head. So I do think that the dogs are going to bark in these two.
Interesting. So some female dogs there. Yeah, we did actually. Some bitches, and that's just politically correct. That's just a female dog, right? I'm not even being disrespectful to women, so you can't even get at me for that. But we all got unanimous Veronica Hardy and who was the other lady fight this past weekend?
Richie.
And Tabitha Ricci. We all had that one, right? Close fight there. This one, I don't know if I can get with you on Vanessa Demopoulos, man. She's a tricky one, but she has been getting wins, some controversial, some submissions. But that's a weird fight. I do agree with you. Ain't no way I'm laying minus 325 on Emily Ducote, who's got some kickboxing skill, but no way I would lay that kind of tag. And the other fight you talked about, Ariane Carnelossi versus Pierre Rodriguez. Physical specimen, Carnelossi. Pierre, more experience, I get. No, not necessarily more experience. Carnelossi's been around, but maybe more skill, I would say, versus just raw power. Slick, any thoughts on Carnelossi Rodriguez, who Rodriguez ran at minus 185?
Nah, man. Honestly, I really don't. Carnelossi, I honestly think she's taking steroids. I don't know how she's getting away with it for the past couple years, but I honestly like the way she goes so hard in that first round and then just death gasses in the second and third round. I don't know what's gonna be happening with her. And then freaking Dakota is not somebody I want to play as a -310 favorite. So I won't be betting nothing on either of these girl fights. Probably play it over, but it'll probably be like -500 for both these girl fights.
I agree with that. Maybe I'll play the under in the Rodriguez Carnelossi fight. Maybe something crazy happens, but I agree with you. I'm going to pass on those. All right. Oh,
whoa, wait a minute though. For the record, you guys got to pick.
That's true. We do have to make picks in those. Give me Piera Rodriguez. Give me Emily Ducote. Slick, who do you like?
Give me Ducote and give me Carnelossi.
There you go. All right. I sped through that because I wanted to we got a couple other fights that we'll mention at the end, but guys, it's almost 20 minutes in the show, and we haven't talked about the main event of the evening, and that's going to end up being one of our dogs of the week. Slick, tell me why you like the old veteran, one of the greatest kickboxers we've ever seen in this sport, Edson Junior Barboza.
Yeah, man, I just think this is a good opportunity for Barboza to get back on that title track that he's been honestly working his way back up, man. We've seen him weather the storm against Yusuf. I would say probably could have almost finished him in that 4th and 5th round, but Yusuf ended up surviving it. And honestly, I'm just not trusting in Murphy. I just don't think that he's actually that good, what his records say. You know, he's fought a tough fight against Santos that he arguably could have lost. And this is gonna be his first main event on like his whole career. So I'm not, Barboza been in main events his whole entire career. I love Barboza's front knee that he was able to land on a guy like Billy Q, a tough guy, and Billy Quarantillo, him going for a takedown, and that's what Murphy does. He does try to shoot takedowns in his own right, and I just don't think if he tries to keep this on the feet for 5 rounds, I just don't think he's going to be able to be there for that 4th and 5th round, or even late 3rd, because he's a guy that usually loses that 3rd round, but he's able to win that first 2 rounds. And this is honestly going to be Murphy's first fight outside of the UK. You know, his past 3 fights have actually been in the UK, favoring him, and he's been like a slight favorite in a couple of them against Culibao, against Santos. He fought them, and so I don't know how he's gonna be in the first main event. Like, let's say if he actually tries to finish Barboza in that first round, and he doesn't, I just don't know how he's gonna look in that 2nd and 3rd round when Barboza. I would say he has been held down on the ground by some good grapplers, but Murphy, we seen like Santos, even whenever he was taken down, able to get up against the cage, and Barboza, he just figures you out by that 2nd and 3rd round. So give me Barboza money line, and I think I'm gonna take Barboza by KO whenever the props come out. I think Barboza will probably get a 3rd, 4th, or 5th round finish. I'll probably take that same prop I took on Max Holloway against Justin Gaethje, 3rd, 4th, or 5th round KO. So give me Barboza.
I like it. Slick with the dog. Plus 135 I saw on Caesars for Edson Barboza. Best line I found out there. And rounds 3, 4, 5, thinking a late KO is possible. Maybe taking the guy, Lerone Murphy, in his first main event into deeper waters, figuring him out like Slick said, and maybe finding that knockout. Ooh, baby. I agree with you, man. I like Barboza too. Mr.Plus, before I get into my thoughts on there, what do you think about the main event here?
I really haven't made a bet or anything on it yet. I'm still trying to figure this fight out. I do love Slick's take, and I'm sure I'm going to like yours and case for Barboza. I just, the 13-0 record, it is there. And he is beating decent guys. Josh Culibao isn't bad. And, and let's not forget about Barboza's L's, and he lost to Bryce Mitchell. It's not looking like as good of an L as it used to. I don't know. This one's going to be really tough, man. Murphy could be strong, and if he's the stronger guy in there, it's going to be the problem. But yeah, if the, not being experienced in these main events and going 5 rounds, that's also something. And you did say something, Slick, that hit home with me. Like, whenever Murphy was winning, he was going 29-28 because he would win rounds 1 and 2, like for sure, easy all day. And then he'd be a little gassed out and sometimes would get that 3rd round taken, right? So it's going to be scary to see him have to go 3 more rounds after he wins the first 2, right? So I'm still on the fence with this one. I don't know yet. The inexperience of the main event could be why I might sprinkle on the dog, but I haven't bet yet for right now. Since we have to make a play and I might sprinkle dog, I guess I'll lean Barboza's side.
There we go. Lean to Barboza for Mr.Plus. Yeah, I like Barboza simply for the fact that every time Murphy has been close to getting like a higher level opponent, his matchup falls out of favor for whatever reason, injury or weight cut stuff, or, so many times he's been kind of ready to take that next step, it seems like. And then he gets an opponent that's a little less than, but he's in a close fight. Like even against, Makwan Amirkhani, he was a huge favorite, but he lost the first round. Like he got taken down and wrestled and out grappled by a guy that was competing with him. He got a nice, highlight knockout with the knee. Then in a close, like Slick mentioned, split decision with Gabriel Santos, pretty newer prospect with a lot of talent and skill, but still, no one expected him to split there, I don't think. I would have expected him to get that win handily. And Coulibaly was a solid win too, but the matchups I'm talking about that he's missed out on, Nate Landwehr canceled. That would have been a fun fight. Nathaniel Wood canceled, and Dan Ige all canceled. Like now he's getting a very tricky, very legendary striker and kickboxer that's going to throw him a lot of looks he hasn't maybe seen yet. And I agree. I think Barboza's got the ability to get back to his feet. He's still got the toughness and the cardio going, super in a grueling fight with Sadiq Youssef. And his last 3 fights are against sort of wrestler boxer types, Billy Q, Sadiq, grappler striker, and even, Bryce Mitchell, which, yes, he was controlled and taken down, but you got to lose sometimes in those scenarios to get a little better, which Slava didn't do, and what I said about him last week. But Barboza is a different animal. So I don't want to take anything away from him. He's a very skilled guy, very sharp striking and good wrestling, good grappling. We'll see if it's up to the level of a guy like Edson Barboza, who's still got it at 38 years old. All right, guys, honorable mentions. We already touched on a couple of them in the middle of the scrambles and dirty boxing that we were doing here. We got Tom Nolan, minus 450, taking on Victor Martinez. Tom Nolan had a ton of hype on him after Contender Series, nice win. And then he comes out and gets flatlined by Nicolas Mota, a guy that we thought was all ready to be faded, right? That was a surprising result. He's a huge favorite again against Martinez. Slick, is it worthwhile trusting Nolan, or are you staying 10 feet away from this fight?
I want to take him by finish. Hopefully, when props come out, I think I'll probably sprinkle that. But no way is he touching any of my parlays this weekend. Like, honestly, the way, I thought he didn't have striking defense, but now he shows me that he doesn't have any defense. A guy like Nicolas Mota, that we was trying to fade him that fight, and then we heavily faded him against Manuel Torres his next fight. And Tom Nolan, I'm just not ready to bet on him no more. He's giving me somewhat malarkey vibes.
Oof.
So hopefully he proves me wrong this weekend.
That's a downward trajectory, right? I can't. Minus 450, Mr.Plus. Are you touching this fight?
Oh man, malarkey vibes are the worst. I might follow in Slick's footsteps there and put something on him by finish and try and hit like a round 1 or 2 finish. I think this is a bounce back spot for Nolan for sure. They're putting him in a position to win. He's so much bigger. David versus Goliath style. This is going to be one of those, like, one guy's way bigger than the other guy in there. But yeah, Martinez, right? That's
Victor Martinez, who just fought Jordan Levitt last and got knocked out by Levitt.
He got knocked out by the Monkey King. If you get knocked out by the Monkey King, that's a problem. He's not even a knockout guy. He'll submit you, but he's not even a knockout guy. I gotta think that Nolan is being put in a position to get back in the win column here, so we can forget about that Nicolas Mota. But we won't forget. Our wallets didn't forget. Nolan, you got a lot of work to do, buddy.
Freaking Nicolas.
No parlays. Yeah. No parlays with this guy.
But no parlays, yeah. However, he is 6'3" to Victor Martinez is 5'8", so he's going to be a lot bigger in there than him. And yeah, if he loses this one, him and Adrian Yanez, they have to win, or their stock is just completely cooked. That's one big favorite. And then, guys, I guess maybe we're all feeling weird vibes with this co-main event of the evening, but no one even brought Chaos Williams taking on Carlston Harris to the conversation. Williams, minus 135. Harris, I don't know, man. He's coming off a win in which he was losing the entire fight, getting controlled against Jeremiah Wells, and then found a sneaky submission there at the end when both guys seemingly were fatigued. So he pulled one from the jaws of defeat. Now he's in a position to fight higher-level guys. I mean, the Chaos Williams hasn't been all that as of late. His boxing has looked a little bit pedestrian after it came into the UFC looking really dangerous, a little less dangerous looking as of late. So I don't know. Mr.Plus, what do you make of this fight?
I think that chaos brings the chaos this weekend. I think that we get to see a good side. And the only reason we didn't bring it up, or I didn't bring it up, I'm going to bet it straight. It's not my favorite play or anything, but I am going to bet on the chaos side straight up. No parlays for him. Just Harris is so awkward. You never know what you're going to get. Like you just said, he could be losing the whole fight and then somehow beat you. So he's just an awkward fighter. Reminds me of one of those guys from Bloodsport, Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Is just monkeying around the whole fucking mat. You just can't. I don't know. I don't like betting on guys or against guys like that, but I do like Chaos to do damage, and Chaos only likes to win one way, and that's by KO. So I think he brings it this weekend for sure.
Yeah, maybe I said that because of that performance against Rolando Bedoya. I don't want to tarnish his name too much for one fight, but he was a big favorite against Bedoya, who ended up, he's a tough Peruvian kid, I believe. You know how we feel about those tough Peruvians. And he took some shots, but also he just didn't look very good against that opponent. Maybe he was just off that night slick. Do you think that Chaos can bring it and get the dub here? He still got the win, but that was a robbery. Bedoya definitely beat him. Saved some parlays there. What do you think about Chaos now?
Yeah, I remember that fight. I think Williams was like a -300 favor in that fight too. I had him in a parlay. And like Mr.Plus said, this is just gonna be one of those types of fights that either Chaos Williams keeps it on the feet, and because I think he's definitely the more damaging striker. Because Harris does have good striking. Don't get fucked up. His awkward type of style, and he throws that looping right hand because he's not worried about what comes out after. And Chaos Williams isn't that great of I would say, a great of a counter fighter. He's more of a fighter that starts the combination. And I'm gonna go with Chaos. I'll probably put one unit on him, but Harris is, if he wins with like a boring type of fight, just make it like just clinch all day. Chaos Williams has been acceptable to the clinch. We've seen it against like a guy like Michelle Pereira and stuff like that. So I'm just not too high on either of these guys. So give me Chaos Williams as a pick, though.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the points. I lean Chaos as well. If it's on the feet, his boxing's better. Harris, that awkward striking, it's not that effective. It's kind of sloppy sometimes too. So Chaos could definitely find that power shot if it's getting kind of sloppy all over the place. But like you said, he can strike himself into the clinch, get in some grappling scenario. I just don't love it. Lean Chaos too for sure. And that's your co-main event of the evening. That's going to wrap things up here, guys. The Darce Parlay will wrap things up, actually. There's a few fights to cover. Each one of us bringing our leg to close out the show of the parlay we make each week. And we owe them a winner, guys. I see them in the comments. They lost again. They lost to Darce again. It's only fuel to the fire. Talk that shit. We need it. We need the motivation. I'm going to start it off. It'll be pretty simple. I'm going with Melissa Gatto taking on Tamaris Vidal. Very mid fighter. Gatto coming in here on short notice, but they're fighting at bantamweight, I believe. She's fought at flyweight before. She's a naturally big flyweight, so I think it's solid for her to fight at bantamweight. It's a much lower level fighter. Vidal, I don't think will have any advantage anywhere. I like Gatto's size and presence and footwork and striking and grappling more than Vidal's, and that's all there is to it. So I think she might sub her. Look out for props there when that comes out. Maybe even a TKO finish from Mount, something like that. Cal mentioned. I like that. So Gatto inside the distance. Gatto is my Darce parlay leg. Mr.Plus, are you going with a German/Russian kickboxer that's on this card that we haven't talked about?
I am, and you guys aren't going to like this one because he's taken a couple L's in a row, and I get it, but I am going with Abus Magomedov versus Warley Alves. And I just think that this is going to be a stylistic difference, and we're going to see some awesome kickboxing at Abus, and maybe some of that, one of his first fights against Stoltzfus or what, Dustin, whatever.
Stoltzfus, yeah, that front kick, oh my goodness.
Oof, remember that? I think we're going to see a little bit of damage. Warley Alves loves to get beat up and take damage. He's got tons of L's on his record, and tons of L's. Four out of his last 5 are L's. I think they're setting him up here to take another one. Abus Magomedov into the win column. I know you're not high on this one, but, remember, he's got good losses. His losses aren't bad. You're talking about Sean Strickland, right? Who was his other one? What was his last one?
Mr. Kyle Barboza.
Yeah, Kyle Barboza, who we just saw, who's now going to be put in the top 10, top 8. He's up there. He's getting up there fast. So these are good L's, not bad L's, and I think that this is a spot for him to get back in the W column. Absolutely. And by the way, just to touch on what you said, I am leaning Gato as well. She looked like she always should have been in this weight class. She looks like way too lean and sucked in when she cuts weight. So I like that she moved up, and yeah, she's gonna be better everywhere. The line is still a little fucking crazy though. Minus 450 or something. It's crazy.
No, I see 380, but yeah, 450 is kind of wild. But yeah, Vidal is. She ain't got much to offer, I don't think. So
she's got like leg kicks. That's about it. Nothing
something,
special.
yeah. We'll see. But you know what? The more you talk about it, I got to regret it. Sean Strick, of course, I forgave him for those losses. He got out grappled. He just came in with so much hype, maybe undeserved hype a little bit. But Warley Alves, Albu's got to beat him, right, Slick?
I mean, honestly, I'm really fading Alves just for the simple fact that this guy lost to James Krause. Like that's and other than anybody else, I'm beyond done with that loss. And I watched that fight. Abu should murder this guy, honestly.
James Krause, officers. Yeah, he's here. We got him. James Krause. Oh my God, man! I heard he popped up somewhere doing some scam type shit, outside of MMA or betting or anything like that. He was like talking about finance or stocks or something, and he sounded like a used car salesman. I got to find the clip, but it's like, oh my God, Krause, stop it, bro. Maybe he's just got that con in him. He was such a hot
selling timeshares in Florida. Selling timeshares in Florida.
Dude, you see what I mean? That's the most scammy shit of all time. Thank you, dude. He was on fire. I think he went Coach of the Year. Like his gym was killing it. Now he's selling timeshares. Unreal. I'm glad we got to talk about James Krause today. All right, guys. Closing thoughts. Slick Montana, any last words?
Yeah, I would say I'll probably be not betting half these fights, especially those girl fights. I'm just not ready to watch like dumb fights. So pretty shitty card, I would say, other than some good matchups. So after this is a break. We'll probably be mad it's a break. So not really much closing thoughts. On to UFC 302 after this.
Slick disappointed in this fight night. He's disappointed in this lineup of fights. Mr.Plus, what do you think?
Slick's real unhappy about this card. Yo, I think that when these cards suck like this, that there's sometimes some really good opportunities to make some money on these lower level cards. So I'm gonna try to put some good parlays together. I'm sure you guys are gonna watch this back and see what we say again. Make sure you hit us in the DMs though. Keep hitting the like, the follow, subscribe. We might have a couple different plays come closer to fight day after we see some weigh-ins and get more of Slick's reports. I always like to see that stuff. So, but it is going to be a card, and when there's fights on, two people punching themselves in the face. What do we say, Brasco?
When two people are punching each other in the face, I'm betting on it. But doing so responsibly, because Slick said we ain't betting every one of these fights. Some of them are hard passes. Yo,
I'm actually looking forward. If you guys follow us, subscribe now, and I'm gonna be putting out 2 Bellator picks on Bellator is on Friday. Banging Bellator card. Already got my tape study on it. So follow us and pay attention to the shorts. So I'll be putting out 2 picks for y'all.
There you go. Some picks from Slick and Bellator. Love it. PFL being covered too. So check out all the channel has to offer.